He answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they all ate and were satisfied. It is Saturday, the 18th day of March, 2023. Time for the reading of our devotional thought, which is coming from the devotional book entitled Truth for Life by Pastor Alistair Begg. Today's devotional thought is entitled Total Satisfaction. And the verses today, Mark chapter 6, verse 37, as well as verse 42. And it reads, He answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they all ate and were satisfied. Alistair Begg writes, when Jesus directed his disciples to feed a crowd of 5,000 men, plus women and children, with nothing but a young boy's 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they faced a seemingly impossible situation. As Andrew questioned, "What are they for so many?" in John chapter 6, verse 9. But the 12 did as Jesus directed them. They sat the people down, separated them into groups, and then divided the loaves and the fish. And divided, and divided, and before they knew it, a miracle had unfolded. The 5 loaves and 2 fish managed to feed thousands, and not just with the tiniest servings of food, but with such an abundance that they all ate and were satisfied. In fact, in a rather humorous turn of events, there were even leftovers. Just as God had done centuries earlier with the manna in the wilderness, Exodus chapter 16, here the shepherd of Israel proved his identity and provided for his people's need, both literally and symbolically. It should be impossible for us to consider this story and not recognize that God takes unmanageable situations and unbelievably limited resources and multiplied them for the well-being of others and the glory of His name. And He can do this with our lives as well. Perhaps if you are the only Christian in your family, in your class, or at your job, you may wonder, like Andrew, what am I among so many? What can I say? What can I do? But here is the real question to ask. Have I truly offered up my resources to God? My time, talents, energies, gifts, finances? They may not be much, but He can multiply them. The missionary Gladys Aylward lived in London with no education and no savings. What she had, though, was a passionate longing to go to China to share the gospel. This small-statured woman, who had long, straight black hair, thus began a journey by train and then by ocean liner, and eventually ended up in Shangri-La. As she stood on the deck, looking out into the city, she saw all the small-statured Chinese people with their straight black hair, and she suddenly realized that God had had a plan and purpose for her all along. He's even established her DNA in such a way that she would be perfectly suited to become the little woman who would reach the countless tiny children with the gospel, all because she offered up her life to God, and He multiplied it for His glory. As you look out on your day and your week, offer yourself to God. Your inability is His opportunity. Your weakness and your sense of dependence form the very basic upon which He shows Himself to be strong. With nothing but mere loaves and fish, He satisfied thousands. Be in no doubt that He can use you to do great things of eternal worth if you will only ask Him. So, let's ask Him. Let's ask the Lord today to do what would seem impossible. Put yourself on the line. Put yourself out there where He can do for you what only He can, and all glory will go to Him. So may today be a day that you see God work, because you simply offer the little that you have to this great and mighty God. Watch what He'll do. Well, Clive Walsh here, trusting that this devotional thought was an encouragement to you and that you, by the Spirit of God, will put it into practice. Take that step out. Believe your God to do great things through very little. In Jesus' name. And those of you reading through the scriptures in a year, your assignment today is the book of Job, chapter 34 and 35, and 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 17 through 34. And may the Lord bless you in a special way today.